from the messy room. After a brief holiday siesta, we're back to Pop-O-Holics. Welcome to the weekly upload. My name is Christian, and I'm joined by my two best friends,
Chris Conkling
and Brian Dupree.
And what the heck are we doing here? Well, it's after Thanksgiving. Our bellies are full of turkey. We hope you and your family, all our American listeners, had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. I certainly did. Chris and Brian, it sounds like you did as well. But we don't got time to talk about any of that, right? We'll
save that. Past.
It is very in the past. Especially
We've moved on. It was great, though.
What are we talking about this month? It's Spider-Sember on the main feed. Okay, so
I want to give credit to Chris's pun here. It's Spidey-Sember.
Spidey-Sember.
Thank you for the
Spidey-Sember.
So we're celebrating all things Spider-Man. I got some stuff later on what we've been consuming, our quick hit section that is a little Spidey-centric. And we got a great Spider-Man main topic episode coming up on the podcast main feed. If you're watching on YouTube, we're happy to have you. You're going to get Brian's Wacky News Corner. But if you want the rest of the show, as well as all the content we're going to be covering starting Wednesday with Spidey-Sember, you need to follow the link in the show notes and subscribe on your favorite podcatcher of choice to hear the audio
Christian, why are we doing Spidey-Sember?
There's no way.
What's coming out that may have prompted us to, for the second year in a row, theme a month Spider-Man themed in December?
I think it's, and again, this is an explicit podcast, so put the earmuffs in on the children, but I'm pretty sure it's because of that clusterfuck of a movie that's coming out called Spider-Man No Way Home. And we're just super excited about it. So we're covering a whole bunch of Spider content that we haven't gotten to in the past, which is going to be cool. We're covering the Amazing Spider-Man series. That's going to be an interesting convo Wednesday. And then next week, we got into the Spider-Verse. So it's a very different reaction to that movie. And then, of course, we're going to be seeing the Spider-Man. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more later this ep, I think, right? Maybe? I don't know.
About the ticket sales.
We got tickets and stuff. So a lot to get into. So we've got a jam-packed episode. Again, for YouTube watchers, we are going to be doing the news corner. And then for audio feed listeners, what we've been consuming with our quick hits. I've been playing that Spider-Man DLC. Hawkeye released. Beatles Get Back. Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. My goodness, Brian, you do see every movie. And then we've got our community feedback section. So action-packed show. Let's get to it and start the way that the Pop-O-Holics do, which is things a bit different around here, with Brian's Wacky News Corner.
So as Christian mentioned, we've got Spider-Man No Way Home coming out later this month, December 17th. And tickets went on sale on early morning, November 29th.
Oh boy, did they.
They definitely did. And Chris had texted us probably at like 8 p.m. that you're like, I have to stay up until midnight tonight, 12:01, in order to get tickets. Little did we know that everyone else had this same exact plan. I was trying to get it through AMC. The app just wouldn't open for me. It would either open and say that it was unavailable or it would crash entirely. And it became very clear that this was a absolute cluster. Apparently you had similar things happening at a different chain, I believe. I was
trying, and just so our viewers know, literally every ticket retailer went down for about 3 hours, essentially.
I'll just say that this broke the 2021 pre-sale Fandango record for first day sales, and it's bigger than everything except Avengers Endgame. So this beats Infinity War and a bunch of other huge titles that had come up in terms of pre-sale, which doesn't always reflect how the movie is going to ultimately do in the box office.
No.
But ultimately, I got a more than an hour wait time, and it was 1 a.m. at this point, and I went to bed and luckily snagged a single seat early the next morning. But Chris, let us know about your experience.
So myself and friend of the show, Danny Lopez, were trying to snag tickets at 12:01 a.m. on the 29th. And I had my computer up, I had my iPad up, and I had my phone going with both the AMC website and Fandango. Oh my God. The websites and the application, as Brian mentioned, just would not load. It would take like 10 minutes to get to the point where you could choose a seat, and then there would be an error and you'd be sent back to the very beginning. At one point, I actually gave up trying to get tickets for myself, Danny, and 2 other people. And I was like, I'm going to try a different day by myself. Like, I'm going to try for the 17th by myself. Because I now live 5 minutes from a theater that's a little bit smaller. It is a Regal, but it doesn't get as much foot traffic as, say, like the theaters that we're used to going to in Orlando. So I was able to snag the single ticket for the 17th for like a 2 o'clock or the earliest showing that the theater had available. Super easy. But to get the group tickets, it took Danny and I until, I believe, 1:30 a.m. Wow. And it was just, like you said, Brian, a clusterfuck. But you would think after experiences like Avengers Endgame and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, with the pandemic, theater chains having 2 years to bolster their servers, they would have done something about this, but no, that's not the case. And Spider-Man No Way Home ticket sales ended up burning the internet to the fucking ground. So
And
it was a crazy experience, but we all have tickets now. Christian, what was your experience like?
I'll tell you, ignorance is bliss. Did not know they were going on sale because I'm not a giant nerd like you. And I had gone to sleep.
Christian's just admitting now to entirely ignoring our group chat. Just going to throw that out there.
No, to be fair, I went to bed very early. I went to bed way before this chat ignited. I was asleep. And so I woke up.
It could have been. It was probably a little later than 8. So fair enough.
Yeah. So I woke up at 7 in the morning to the
40 text messages.
126 total and counting reactions.
No.
And I go through the nightmare hellscape that was you trying to get tickets, and I thought, shit, we have to review that movie. I probably should get tickets too. So I went on, and there was easily tickets available where I was going. The theaters were near sold out. So, there's a lot of concerns there with the Omicron, but still feeling good about where I'm at with vaccinations and stuff. So I browsed around. I finally found good seats in my favorite theater, the theater I've been talking about. It's the RPX screening at the Winter Park Village. And I found
Is this IMAX?
Thursday. It's like LIMAX. It's like a wider format, but it's not IMAX.
Nice.
But it's a nice, comfortable theater with recliners. And I made the tickets, but I do have a problem, which is they overcharged me for my tickets on Fandango. I paid $30 a pop. I went back
How many tickets did you buy?
2, so $60 for me and my fiance. I went back and hit add seats, and they're the normal like $17. So something glitched and double charged me or charged me 30% more. So I have to figure that out and call Fandango, but I do have tickets, which is the most important part. So I'm very excited. It was really easy. Took me 2 minutes. Everything was working at 7 in the morning because all the nerds were asleep. And it was a very lovely experience, with the exception of being charged out the butt face.
Yeah, so I actually ended up having the same experience. I couldn't wait up the hour to go through AMC. I tried a Regal as well and saw a theater that was, it made me skeptical how empty it was. I clicked, tried to go through, immediately got kicked back out. And I'm like, I'm done with this for the night, and got up at about 8 in the morning and waited like 1 minute. There was still a slight wait time on AMC's app then. But I was able to get a single seat. So luckily I was able to get it. Christian, apparently there are some people on eBay charging even more exorbitant prices.
$25,000.
And I'm not sure if these have been purchased yet, but it's honestly a shame and kind of shameful that people do this kind of thing. But at least you didn't get charged that amount. But I'm interested to see how they explain themselves with that $60 2-ticket charge.
It was definitely a glitch, because to add another seat, it is not that price. So I think there was a hiccup in their system.
It must have been 4 seats or something like that in terms of the price.
Must have been like half that cost.
Well, it doesn't make any. Well, they're not. I think they're $18 or $19 a piece, because it's not matinee and it's the RPX screening. So it is upcharge. There's an upcharge, but not $30. And to add a seat in the front row, which is what's available now, or at least was when I checked, it is $18. So I don't think there's a different price for different seats. But yeah, I'm just excited we're gonna be able to see it and review it on time. That's the main one, because I got worried. But I also wasn't trying to go to the big, because my friend landed IMAX for like the big true IMAX that's here in Orlando on Thursday, and that seat right there, that definitely sell for more than what it's worth at this point.
I desperately wanted Dolby at AMC, but that was not going to happen. So you know what? I decided I don't care what format I see it in at this point. when it comes out on VOD or Blu-ray, I'm going to have the best experience possible here at home. So whatever, as long as we see it and we can review it, that's all that matters. I am super concerned, though. I do have to say, this is going to be the most crowded theater I've been to in 2 years. Literally every seat is sold out. So this is going to be an experience.
Yeah, Spider-Man's new villain, Omicron.
Right.
No, not.
The Spidey super spreader extravaganza, as Christian said in our group chat.
Hopefully it won't be that.
Hopefully not.
Everyone's
I know I'm
being responsible, hopefully.
I'm vaccinated, I'm boosted up, I'm gonna double mask. So like I'm not gonna eat a single thing while we're in the theater. Like I'm trying to protect myself as much as I possibly can. So fingers crossed, Yeah.
Yes, this
will be definitely a very, very strong test of the new variant and vaccinations.
Let's not think of it that way. Jesus, my God.
Hey, I'm just excited. I'm going to see a bunch of Spider-Man people or something. I don't know. I haven't seen the latest trailer, but from what I understand, every Spider-Man movie is happening at once, so that can't go wrong.
I'll say this: Sony still has not revealed whether or not Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are in the film, and I don't think they're going to. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the theater.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's Spider-Man No Way Home. If you're interested in this, I'm sure you've heard about the hullabaloo, but it's coming out December 17th, and we will be covering it the following Wednesday. So stay tuned for that as well. All right, moving on. I have not seen this series of movies, but it's something that's been on my radar for a while because I've kind of only heard amazing things about both, mainly Magic Mike, the first one. They made a sequel, Magic Mike XXL. But Channing Tatum and Steven Soderbergh are back to finish the trilogy with Magic Mike's Last Dance. This also has the writer of the whole series, Reed Carolyn, who is going to be writing this as well. I didn't know that this franchise has spawned a Las Vegas live show called Magic Mike Live that started in Vegas and now is international in London, Berlin, and Australia. And there's an HBO Max competition reality show called Finding Magic Mike coming out on December 16th as well. So the Magic Mike EU is thriving right now, and Soderbergh is hopping back on the train. Have you guys seen Magic Mike or Magic Mike XXL?
First, Brian, I believe it's called the Stripperverse.
Okay, the Magic Mike Stripperverse. Yes, thank you.
And no, I have not. I haven't seen any of them. I don't even know if my wife has seen any of them. But, like you said, Brian, from everything I've heard, it seems to be a thoroughly entertaining franchise. It makes sense that it's getting a third film. So maybe we'll have to check it out here on Pop-O-Holics. I don't know. Christian, have you seen any of these films?
No, this is Magic Michael Jordan's Last Dance, right? The Netflix series.
Son of a gun.
Magical Michael's Final Waltz. No, this is it's a cultural touchstone. It's a sign of America's suppressed female and male sexuality. And I'm glad it exists. I've never seen it, but people
based on a true story as well.
It gets people real excited. Channing Tatum's a talented guy. He looks hot. Great. It's I also think there's like a weird stigma about just like heterosexual men watching this film. It's kind of like there's kind of something that is like, this door is not for you, and that's okay. And but I don't think that door is real. That's again suppressed sexualization of the male figure. Anyway, I'm not interested, but I'm sure it'll be fun. We'll see. I have to talk to my fiance.
You're not interested? Are you guys fans of Steven Soderbergh? Generally, have you seen his movies?
Yeah.
Okay,
big fan for sure. Not a fan of male strippers though. That's just where just where like I jump off the gravy train.
I don't know. I've heard great things about this, but I think we have to bust down that metaphorical door at some point because it sounds like there's something here.
Kick it down.
And Channing Tatum. I grew up. One of the movies that was like a classic go-to for me and my sisters growing up. I'm the oldest in my family of two younger sisters. Step Up. Channing Tatum's, I think, one of his first starring roles where he showed off his dance moves and put on a frankly problematic accent. I think maybe looking back on this movie, I'm not sure, but we watched this a bunch growing up. So having come from being a stripper, come from Tampa, basically went to high school where Christian and I grew up. And
same school as my brother went to, actually.
Insane. So there's really no reason we haven't seen this. So I'm going to put it on my list now and definitely get to this. But yeah, that's,
I know why. We're 3 heterosexual males, and I think we're afraid to get horny. And, it's just, again, America.
See that cover and it's like, oh, geez, that might awaken something.
Yeah, exactly.
It's dangerous territory.
There's a side of me, there's a percentage of me, because we know sexuality is a spectrum, that I don't want to awaken. Okay? I'm man enough to admit it. Anyway.
Does that make you... this is a whole conversation. We could go down the rabbit hole if you want. But I was going to say, does that make you more manly or less manly? In my opinion, it makes you less manly for not being comfortable in your sexuality. Mm-hmm. But let's... maybe we should turn away from this convo.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
We'll dive deep into this when we do Magic Mike Month coming soon to your ears.
Listen, we need more female viewership. So let's.
Well, that's
let's
undeniably true. Yeah. So yeah, that's Magic Mike's Last Dance. Channing Tatum, Steven Soderbergh teaming up.
You think we don't have enough women because there's too many dudes in our audience, Chris? Okay.
Is that what I said?
Am I the one with the problem?
Someone's getting canceled tonight. I don't give a shit.
I'm afraid to get a boner from Magic Mike.
There it is. Nothing to be afraid of. So moving on. Nicolas Cage and Awkwafina have signed on for Universal's Renfield movie, which Nicolas Hoult had signed on probably about a month ago. I think we covered this news. He signed on as Renfield. Nicolas Cage is now signing on as Dracula. And we have Awkwafina as a kind of sidekick to Renfield's character. So it'll be kind of, I'm not entirely sure. The tone of this movie, I thought it was going to be more of a straight take initially, but now that we've got Nick Cage on board, they do say, let me find the... it says Renfield takes a look at that toxic and codependent relationship, bringing it to a modern day setting in an adventure story that is said to be comedic in tone. So I guess Renfield is kind of turning against Dracula with Awkwafina, trying to take it down, and it's going to be funny. I don't know if you guys have seen the Nicolas Cage property Vampire's Kiss, where he may or may not turn into a vampire in that movie, but definitely is acting. Capital A acting. He's doing some insane stuff that is just completely off the wall. And I'm super excited for Nicolas Cage, being in movies that are potentially good, because he does do a decent amount of stinkers. One in particular this year that I was not particularly impressed by. I'm not going to shout it out, though, because he gave us Pig, which I don't think you guys have seen yet. But Pig is masterclass Nicolas Cage. And when he turns it on, it's absolutely magnificent.
I think, when it comes to Nicolas Cage, the reason people kind of rag on him, and then, we've ragged on him here on the show before, is that he does so much. And when you produce the volume of films that he does, your percentage of quality films ends up shrinking. So, he's a great actor, but he just does so much that they can't all be masterpieces,
I think the one thing I'm scared about, and I've heard this critique actually of a movie you're going to talk about and what you've been consuming, which is House of Gucci, Brian, is that this line, the Film Spotting podcast pointed this out, this line of like camp versus how many actors are in on the camp, and if you're aiming for comedy and the mixture thereof. And my thing is like, everybody in this film needs to play this completely straight and it will be glorious. But I think I'm a little more questionable, being that they're like, oh, it's going to be funny. That leads me a little concerned that it isn't played straight, and I think that's a fine line. So we'll have to see whether it's successful, and I think that's the hard tone to pull off.
Apparently, the script is being pulled from a story from Robert Kirkman. Is that correct? Which gets me really excited because creator of The Walking Dead, and Adam McKay is involved. Correct?
I think he's producing, with Kirkman.
You have people with comedic chops and horror chops, involved in this film.
Good chops.
And
That's
got so
some
many
quality
chops.
chop.
Quality, thick chops going into Renfield. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually really excited to see how it turns out. I'm excited, dude. Yep.
Yes, exactly. So that is Nicolas Cage, Awkwafina, and Nicholas Hoult, who have all signed on for Universal's Renfield, which, we'll see. We'll definitely be covering the trailer once.
The birth
once
of a
comes
new
out.
dark universe, gentlemen.
Let's not say anything that we're going to regret here, Chris.
There's going to be books and comics and video games, combo movies. There's going to be a combo Happy Meal.
Tumblers.
A combo Happy Meal in promotion for it. It's going to be extravaganza.
You have to wear plastic fangs to get the meal, though. That's the gimmick. That's how they know that you're ordering it. Yes. So moving on to some stuff that is coming out this week on the TV front. Coming out Monday on the 6th on Netflix, we have, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know exactly how to pronounce this. It's Voir, like voyeur. I think it's like a play on voyeur, but this is a series of visual essays celebrating cinema and the personal connection we each have to the stories we see on the big screen. So this is executive produced by David Fincher and David Pryor, and has a bunch of people doing different video essays, a couple of which Tony Zhu and Taylor Ramos, who are best known for their YouTube channel, Every Frame a Painting, which I'm not sure if you guys have seen before, but definitely really awesome stuff that they're doing there, breaking down different directors and styles of shots and things like this.
That's very exciting. I didn't know that. That individual has gone dark, actually, on Every Frame a Painting. It hasn't made a YouTube video in quite a while, and
Maybe
some of
this
the
is why.
best commentary on especially the visual language of cinema. That person is excellent. His name escapes me at this point, but love all that work. So very excited to hear that he's come back to do some stuff.
Yeah, so that's a Voyeur coming to Netflix on Monday. Moving on to something that's on HBO Max, another show that we probably have metaphorically blocked off from ever having watched, but we'll see. And Just Like That is coming to HBO Max this Thursday. It's marketed as the title, And Just Like That, a new chapter of Sex in the City. So this is a 10-episode revival of the classic original run of Sex in the City that's coming to HBO Max. Stars Sarah Jessica Parker as Carrie Bradshaw, Kristen Davis as Charlotte York Goldenblatt, and Cynthia Nixon as Miranda Hobbs. Markedly absent is Kim Cattrall, who plays Samantha Jones, who is not returning for this. I didn't dig
such
deep
a Samantha
into
thing to do, not come back.
such a Samantha classic. Wow.
Samantha. If I know Samantha.
So I never watched this show. I remember when it was super popular. I feel like it was like middle school, late elementary school, middle school when this was popular for us.
Perfect time for a bunch of middle school boys to get into highfalutin midlife crisis of a bunch of city-dwelling women. That's when we were connecting with that story.
They were doing their best to market to us, obviously, but somehow we missed this boat.
Not enough sex, too much city. I'm just going to say it. That was my problem with the show.
This is what you come to the Pop-O-Holics for. Completely unfounded hot takes.
For things that we've never seen.
Decades old shows.
No, I would watch it and I'd go, I don't want to watch, middle-aged Sarah Jessica Parker talking about sex, and I don't even think I want to see her having sex. Why am I watching this? Middle school me, not developed, hadn't unlocked the magic Mike gene yet, so very suppressed.
I'm going to go on a limb and say these women were like late 20s when this show started. Probably you're like middle-aged, super old. I have no idea how old they were, but maybe they were middle-aged.
When I was in middle school, I was like, those are my mom's friends.
Well, okay, fair enough. So yeah, that is And Just Like That, which will be coming to HBO Max on Thursday. Moving into some movies that are coming out this week, the long-awaited, apparently decades in the making, according to Steven Spielberg, but his take on West Side Story is coming out this Friday to the theaters. So the basic storyline is two teenagers from different ethnic backgrounds fall in love in 1950s New York City. So this is directed by Steven Spielberg from a screenplay by Tony Kushner, and it's based on it was originally a stage play from the book written by Arthur Lawrence, lyrics by Stephen Sondheim, who very sadly just passed recently, who surprisingly has like 2 or 3 movies coming out this year that he has ties or production ties to or original music ties to. So just an unbelievable career. So
most
just
recently he was
rest in
involved
peace.
with Tick Tick Boom, wasn't he?
Yes, exactly. He was involved in Tick Tick Boom, the new Lin-Manuel Miranda movie that's also on Netflix right now. So yeah, this stars Ansel Elgort and Rachel Zegler, as well as Ariana DeBose, David Alvarez, Mike Feist, and Rita Moreno in a supporting role. And she was actually in the 1961 film adaptation as well. So we have some legacy cast there coming back. This is the sort of trailer that if I watch this, the one with the music in particular, any sort of show tunes like this, I'm a sucker. I get pulled into the feels and nearly start crying just from the trailer itself because of how sweet the music is. I'm actually relatively unfamiliar with this music, so I'm kind of excited to and they're rave reviews from what I've seen so far initially. So yeah,
I feel pretty, and witty and gay.
Is that from West Side Story?
I believe so.
Oh, okay. So I have heard that song. Maybe I'll recognize
the classic.
Lot more.
Brian, I think there are a lot
scene.
of songs you'll recognize in the film.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna be a big ball of emotion after this one. But yeah, that's West Side Story. That'll be in theaters this Friday. Something else coming to theaters is National Champions. This movie did not get a lot of marketing. I saw it, I think maybe only once in theaters, possibly twice. But this is directed by Rick Roman Waugh, and it's based on a play of the same name by Adam Mervis and stars Stephen James, J.K. Simmons, Alexander Ludwig, Lil Rel Howery, Tim Blake Nelson, and many more. The plot centers around a star college football quarterback who begins a players' strike hours before the national championship game. This looks, speaking of Steven Soderbergh earlier, he did a movie called High Flying Bird, which I haven't seen, but it's, I think, kind of about similarly a look inside behind the curtain into the sports world. This is the kind of thing, this movie feels super relevant today in the age of Colin Kaepernick having protested, kind of been blackballed by the league.
Right.
Seeing how politics and sports clash like they always have. And it's got a bunch of big names. The trailer looks really great. I'm not sure if it's going to be able to maintain the momentum that it seems to have, because it seems like kind of a propulsive movie. But yeah, this seems like it could be really good and is kind of out of nowhere for me. And yeah, that's National Champions that's coming to theaters this Friday. The last one that's coming out this week is coming to Prime Video, and this is Encounter. So this is a sci-fi thriller directed by Michael Pierce from a screenplay by himself and Joe Barton, and stars Riz Ahmed, Octavia Spencer, Janina Gavankar, Rory Chakran, and many more, and follows a Marine Corps veteran who takes his kids on the run from the military as he tries to protect them from the threat of an alien invasion. There is something in the water right now. This is the 3rd or 4th in the last couple of months alien invasion show that's happened. I don't know the reason for it, but with Riz Ahmed helming this thing, it's kind of a really easy sell for me. Classic sci-fi thriller concept, on the run from potential aliens. And yeah, it's on Prime Video, so it'll be easily accessible. And that'll be out Friday as well. The last one that I have, which Christian has very appropriately corrected me to let me know that a version of this game has been out for probably about a month now at this point. But Halo Infinite, the campaign mode, is coming out. Let me make sure I get the date right. This Wednesday, December 8th. So this game, I'm sure everyone knows about Halo, but it's a first-person shooter developed by 343 Industries and published by Xbox Game Studios. It's going to be available on PC and both of the latest Xbox platforms. Unlike previous installments, as I mentioned, the multiplayer portion, which is already out now, is free to play. So this is kind of a step forward into, this seems to be the trend. Call of Duty, I know, recently did this in the last couple of years as well, with their 100 gigabyte behemoth that you had to download in order to play it. But yeah, I know, Christian, you've played a little bit of this already, right?
I have. I played via, so I have the Backbone controller for my iPhone, and that came with Game Pass, right? So I played a little bit over their cloud gaming service, which is not ideal for a first-person shooter. So I will not judge the feel of it, but it looks great. The matches are quick. It has a lot of new stuff, but it feels like classic Halo. They're doing a lot right here. Obviously, as you mentioned, they have to go free to play to get a large player base to make it a large community. And they've gotten some critiques for how they're doing the progression system, but that's stuff that they can fix and work on. The core gameplay is solid and spectacular and is probably the reason I'm going to have an Xbox Series S and play it.
There it is.
Because Halo is one of my favorite games of all time. It launched and has floated the entire Xbox Series on its poor little back for a long time, for certainly the initial run, but even so, now this is one of the most anticipated releases, and it seems to play great and be a fun multiplayer shooter and be in this category that we have a lot of great battle royales. I still play Apex. There's a lot of great games in this area. Warzone's super popular. Vanguard just came out. Call of Duty. But there's not a lot of great arena deathmatch games that are just really kings, and it seems like 343 Studios has actually had their most successful hit from a mechanics and understanding Halo. Clearly a lot of work has gone into it. I'm very excited. I'm going to be playing the campaign. It's going to be dope.
Yeah, so that's Halo Infinite. That'll be out this Wednesday. And that wraps it up for the news this week.
Brian, thank you so much for that news. It was lacking a little bit in the wacky department, but I'll forgive you because we had
was informative, though. Very informative.
Very informative.
I'm doing my
Not
best
very
here.
wacky.
I'm doing my best.
Yeah, not a lot of hee-ha, hoo-has, and
Just wait till you see Nicolas Cage Dracula and then get back to me, okay?
That's where the wackiness is stored.
I'll have the quarter pounder with cheese, the Dracula meal. Anyway, that's going to do it for the news section and our YouTube portion. So, gentlemen, where can people find more of your work on the internet?
Loyal viewers and listeners, you can find me on Twitter at Chris Conkling, talking about all things nerdy, video games, television, movies, comics, collectibles. If it's nerdy, I'm talking about it.
You can find me on Twitter at True Pop-O-Holic. And you can also find my new podcast that I just started recently with my good friend Peter at Adaptations Pod.
And I highly recommend that podcast. It's very good.
We don't talk about other podcasts. Well, Brian, we don't talk about other podcasts on this show. No, Adaptation is great. Peter is, I've met Peter in person. Very, very intelligent person. If you want a higher level look at what they talk about that isn't involving me going like,
the human soundboard.
Yeah, if you like, if I'm a little much for you, definitely check out the Adaptations podcast. They are on a whole nother level and very, very smart. Peter is excellent. He's super kind and very, very intelligent. So definitely recommend it. It's a really great deep dive into different film adaptations and books and media and stuff like that. You can find my band if you're like, Christian, you're not enough. I want that energy, but I want to be sad. My band at Midnight Satire, you can find on Twitter as well as your favorite streaming platform. Just search it. I'm the only Midnight Satire, which makes it easy. Not So Serious Man is the newest single, and it's streaming now. Video coming soon, starring these two fellas.
Not So Serious Man, but it's a serious jam, folks. Let me be clear.
Oh man, why isn't Brian doing your marketing, Christian?
Why isn't anyone? I'm not even doing my own marketing. This is the extent of my marketing. Very cool. So that's Midnight Satire. Check it out at Chris Conkling and at True Pop-O-Holic. The Truest Pop-O-Holic has a different podcast that is competing directly with ours. True Pop-O-Holic. Mm-hmm.
Not competing directly. It's very different.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true. All right. So that'll do it for this. YouTube watchers. Bye.